Hi, my name is Guillermo Mendoza, and I am one of the trainers for the international coaching community. And I want to welcome you to our Coaching Skills Challenge. We offer these challenges with several purposes. One of our goals is that you get clarity about what coaching is and how it works, because there's a lot of confusion in the market. And the other one is that you learn some concepts about coaching, but most importantly, that you get some useful tools that you can apply immediately to your life, to your communications, to your job, and you can take advantage of coaching as a great tool to work better, to have a better life, to have a better career, etc. So welcome to the challenge. And we are going to start today with something that we call the coaching formula. The first thing that I need to clarify is that coaching is a methodology of questions to help people improve in whatever they want to improve. Sometimes we are confused and think that coaching is mentoring, helping someone with your experience, or that coaching is consulting, giving some solutions as a consultant, or advising and giving some help or some solutions or formulas. That's a result of some people in the market calling themselves coaches when they are really doing consulting, advising, mentoring. But the real coaching, what we call the pure coaching, is a methodology of questions where you are just a facilitator. You are just helping the other person, asking the questions that they haven't asked. So they are like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. And with those questions, they start by defining their situation and then creating a good plan and then executing. So that's a very important first clarification. Coaching is a methodology of questions. We call them powerful questions to help people improve. The second thing that I want to show you today is what we call the coaching formula. You have heard in the market about several methodologies. There are ontological coaching, coaching with NLP, coaching with positive psychology, performance coaching. There are many, many names to ways of doing and offering coaching. But the majority of methodologies, they use like a 3 or 4 step formula. We call it the coaching formula. And all of them focus on 3 things: goal, plan, and execution. So it's first about defining with clarity what you want, then creating a plan to do it, and then to execute and have the actions that will give you the results that you need. So goal, plan, and execution is the coaching formula. In Impact Coaching Solutions, we call these creating consciousness, developing leadership, and getting results. Because when you work with your goal and clarifying exactly what you want, you are working on creating a better consciousness about your goals, your dreams, the ideas that you have in life, in work, etc. So the first step on defining goals, we call it creating consciousness. The second one is the one on plans, and we call it developing leadership because it's about not about leading others, not leadership from that perspective, but leadership from the perspective that you first need to be a leader for yourself. You need to be capable to move yourself or take yourself from point A to point B. That's the start of leadership. So we call it developing leadership because when you create a plan, you are creating ideas on how to move from what we call in coaching your present state to your desired state, from where you are to where you want to be. And that's the second step of the formula. And then the third one is execution, because once you have clarity on your goal, once you have a good plan, then it's about executing and doing the things that you need to do so you get to your destination. So the coaching formula is goal, plan, execution, creating consciousness, developing leadership, getting results. And let's start with the first step to understand better what we mean with this coaching formula. Goal. Everything starts with a good definition of what you want, exactly what you want. Sometimes we have ideas about the things that we want in life, but they are not clear. They are not grounded. They haven't landed to something that is more specific. When I got certified as a professional coach with international coaching certification, I got a comment from the teacher that she used to say, you have dreams and you will keep dreaming, and dreams are dreams. They don't become a reality. But when you define them as goals, then you are adding legs to those dreams. So she used to say, goals are dreams with legs. Now they can walk, now they can get to the destination. I even improved that to goals are dreams with wings. They can fly, they can take you to where you want to be. So it's very important to define with clarity, what do you mean with your goal? Sometimes we have common language and we assume things. We assume that we understand what is that, but we really don't. So if we are helping someone, this person says, I need help with time management. We go to our own definition of time management and we might start helping from that perspective, but that might not be the perspective of the other person. So one of the things that we do in coaching is what I call clarifying meanings when we are working with a goal. That means asking, what do you mean by time management? What is that for you? So when we understand better definitions, we have more clarity on goals. You can do actually an exercise at your job or at your house with your family, and it's a fun exercise. Just think about a word. Like I said, time management, you could say organization, you could say any word, and then ask everyone to write down the definition of that word in a little piece of paper, and then compare the definitions. And you are going to realize that each one of you wrote down a different definition. So the way I see this is like we are all like a dictionary. We have a lot of definitions to words in our head, but we all have different definitions. Like if we are coming from different publishing houses, different authors, because we have different definitions of words. So when we are in this first stage of goals, the most important is to clarify meanings, understand what we mean by that, and then land the goal going to more specificity, going from general to specific. We call it going through the funnel. It's like having a funnel where you start with a lot, and then you go down, 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 and you get to something more and more specific. So if I ask a person as a coach, what can I help you with? And he says, I need help with communication. Then I start by clarifying me. What do you mean by communication? Well, communication is that I have a couple of people that work for me and I want to communicate better with them. Okay, what does it mean to communicate better with them? Well, because one of them thought that he was going to be promoted to my position and they gave it to me instead to him. So he's pissed off and he's not cooperating, not working well with me. Oh, okay. So then your goal is communication with specifically one person that you are not working well with. So what do you mean by working well? Well, working well is that he would accept that I got the position, that now he's working for me and that we are a team and that we can both improve and both go up and move forward if we are working, helping each other. Okay, so you see how we went from a large thing as communication to something that was more specific, like working with one person to improve the relationship because that person was mad about something. So that's a very, very different thing that you're going to work with. So that's what we mean by clarifying the goal. The next stage in the formula is plan, and that's creating actions about what are you going to do to make it happen. But before you go to the plan, when we are in the goals stage, we also work with something that we call the value behind the goal. Because we define goals, but sometimes we go after material things or some promotion at work or different things, and we don't realize that there is something more valuable behind that. Sometimes it's a subjective thing, an abstract thing, but the example that I give is if I have the goal of taking my kids to Disney World, the goal is about having the money, making the time, asking for the vacations, getting the hotel, etc., to go to that trip. But the real value behind that goal is the happiness of my kids. So you can have a goal, but the thing that you are really going for is that value behind the goal. So we work with those values behind the goal. When we move to plan, it's about creating the actions that will take you there. And it's very important to have the actions. It's very important to have the metrics that will tell you that you are in the right way, the metrics that will tell you that you are already there, and also having rewards. How are you going to reward yourself? Because getting to a goal and working with a goal and achieving it is hard work. So it's not only the achieving the goal, it's also what is the reward that you can give yourself for that hard work, for working on that. And finally, the last part of the formula, and let me show you here the screen so you can have a graphic about what we mean by the coaching formula. You can see here, we start at the top of this triangle with goal, that's defining exactly what you want. Then we explore the value behind the goal. What is the benefit of achieving this or going after this? Then we move to the plan, that's creating actions on how to accomplish it. And then here in the base of the triangle, when we move from plan to execution, we have what we call interferences. And interferences in coaching, we classify them in three ways. They can be bad habits, they can be limited perspectives, or they can be limiting beliefs. So part of what we do in coaching when we help people with professional coaching skills is to move from the plan to the execution and the results by identifying those bad habits that are not helping, identifying those limiting beliefs, or identifying those limited perspectives, and then helping the people to open the perspectives or switching from a limiting belief to an empowering belief and working better in that way to achieve the goals. So that's a formula: goal, plan, execution. You can see that when you are going through a coaching process, it could be 10 sessions, 12 sessions. What your coach is going to do with you, or if you are a professional coach, what you do with a client is that you go through this journey of moving from clarifying the goal, identifying the value, creating a good plan, and then getting to the execution. And when you go to the execution, removing roadblocks like the bad habits or the limiting beliefs, then you finally get your results. So it's creating consciousness, developing leadership, and getting results. So that's a coaching formula. This is the first lesson of our coaching skills challenge, to clarify what coaching is, to clarify how it works, and for you to understand the coaching formula. And now you have specific tools that you could use, like when you are working on something, ask for the definition. What do I mean by that? Or what do you mean by that? What is the exact definition of that? Ask for the goal behind, the value behind the goal. What is the benefit of pursuing that? What is what we are getting at the end of the road? Then ask for metrics and rewards and things that are going to create a good plan, or a plan B. What are the actions that I will do if these ones don't work? And then work on your interferences, identifying bad habits, identifying limiting beliefs, identifying limited perspectives, so you can move more freely, move without roadblocks, and get to your destination, get to your goal, achieving what you want. Because coaching is about helping people to improve in whatever they want to improve, moving from a current state to a desired state and getting the results that they want. So again, welcome to the Coaching Skills Challenge. This is our capsule number 1, our first presentation. Tomorrow you will continue with some other topics, and we will continue for 5 days with ideas that will help you implement something in your life, and that hopefully will entice you to go for more professional coaching skills and say, okay, what about if I become a coach? What about if I get more skills to help myself and help people with these powerful techniques? Thank you, and see you soon in our next presentation for the Coaching Skills Challenge. Bye.